Hello, English 172. My name is Matthew, and I will be reading Symphony in Yellow by Oscar Wilde. We already covered this in class, but I just felt like I had a little bit more to say about it. And it's my presentation, so I can. So here we go. All right, Symphony in Yellow. An omnibus across the bridge crawls like a yellow butterfly, and here and there a passerby shows like a little restless midge. Big barges full of yellow hay, or moored against the shadowy wharf, and, like a yellow silken scarf, the thick fog hangs along the quay. The yellow leaves begin to fade and flutter from the temple elms, and at my feet the pale green Thames lies like a rod of rippled jade. Alright, so let's dive into it. Alright, well, the first thing that I noticed is, I had to look up the word omnibus because I didn't know what it means. It turns out it's a dated word for bus. So let's keep that in mind. If it's crawling across the bridge like a yellow butterfly, when you think of a butterfly, first of all, you think of it in flight, and this butterfly here is crawling. So that's kind of like an unappealing thing to think about. It's like bugs like crawling, and then to even add to that, it's a yellow butterfly. And usually when you think of butterflies, you'll think of a monarch butterfly or one of some pretty vibrant colors. And here we got these an ugly colored moth. Well, butterfly, but it kind of reminds me of a moth, you know. So here we got this concept or this notion that beauty can be a little deceiving, or that things don't always look like they're supposed to. And then he also mentions another insect, which is a midge, and I looked it up, and it's like a mosquito. And another kind of unappealing thing to be writing in your poetry, talking about mosquitoes. So I thought, why would he be talking about this? And to me, it just seems like he's trying to have a juxtaposition of butterfly, like a symbol of beauty, but it's still kind of ugly. The one that he's describing, the yellow one. And then he's talking about mosquitoes, and mosquitoes are just ugly, bothersome, pesky, and to me I think of disease when I think mosquitoes, like West Nile, like a vector of disease, that would be a mosquito, or in this case a midge. And then the next thing is he talks about big barges full of yellow hay. So all of a sudden we got this huge barge, like a big boat full of yellow hay, and hay is grass, it's green, but if it's yellow, it's dried up, it's dead, and got no life in it. And here it is just floating across the river in a boat. So I would think of it as he's referring to a big boat full of something dead, and then the wharf is shadowy. And then on top of that, he says that there's a thick fog that hangs along the quay. But this thick fog, I'm thinking that it's like a yellow fog, like a real dirty fog they would associate with pollution or smog, or just being by a polluted river like the Thames, and it's just dirty and foggy, and all that mist. You just don't want to be covered up in it, and you're breathing it, and it's probably just real suffocating. And then it goes on to talking about the leaves fading, and the leaves fading and fluttering, and they're coming from elm trees. And me looking into everything, I looked up elm trees, and a lot of the leaves from elms, they have almost little razor points on them. It looks real sharp, almost barbed. So here these things, they're falling, and it just seems like you wouldn't want just to fall and scratch up against it. It would be a little unpleasant. And this just happened. This just comes to my mind when I'm reading this poem. And the last two lines, and at my feet the pale green Thames. So all of a sudden you go from yellow to pale green, which is similar, shades, colors, hues. I'm not a big expert on colors, but that pale green, it's kind of yellowish. I would also associate that with just pollution, dirtiness. Even something that you just really don't want to be enveloped in. And Then at the end it says it lies like about a ripple jade. So the only thing that to me seems like is like the most like lively part of this poem is the ripple jade, because the jade plant it's a succulent, and if you think about it, if it's like a succulent plant, like by dirty water, it's probably just soaking up that water, and it's probably has all kinds of pollution inside of it itself, and that's pretty much what I got from it. It just seemed like a very morose kind of poem, and that's all I gotta say about that. So thank you guys.